What's going on, Bulls fans? Happy Sunday. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into the Bulls Report. And coming up on today's show, I wanted to have some fun and look at 4 blockbuster wild trades around Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic, as those two are the next 2 dominoes to fall, hopefully, for the Chicago Bulls. But before we dive into that, guys, first off, just want to say thank you so much for everybody who has hit that subscribe button over the last couple of weeks. We are growing like crazy here, and it is truly awesome to see the support from Bulls fans. But we're also closing in on 9,000 subscribers, and personally, one of my favorite players that I loved watching growing up, repping the Chicago Bulls, was Luol Deng. So hit that subscribe button for Deng, as we only need 309 of you guys to do so. But let's get into the first trade idea, and I saw these floated out there on the internet. Fanspo has a great community page where people can just throw out their wildest trade ideas. So these are not all from me. I do have one specifically from me that we'll get to here in a second. But this was a wagon of a trade. It was the Warriors receiving Zach LaVine, the Pelicans getting Nikola Vucevic, Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, a first-round pick from the Bulls, but it was actually Portland's first-round pick. That is lottery protected. It is not going to convey. And then also 2 second-round picks from the Bulls. And the Bulls get Brandon Ingram and Andrew Wiggins. Now, this would definitely be something. Obviously, I'm in the camp that I think the Bulls need to do whatever it takes to get their first-round pick next season, which if you guys don't know, their first-round pick next year, if it is not in the top 10, it will be sent off to the San Antonio Spurs. So the Bulls, the max amount of wins they probably can have next season is like 35. And if you would trade for Brandon Ingram and Andrew Wiggins, even though you are moving off Nikola Vucevic and Zach LaVine, you're still going to be a decent enough ball club where it would be tough to land in the top 10. I mean, check out this lineup. On paper, this is not a bad unit. Like, you have, obviously some defensive problems in that backcourt with Josh Giddey and Kobe White, but I love the wings. Patrick Williams, a more defensive-minded forward. Brandon Ingram, a more offensive-minded forward. I love the fit there. And then also a big reason why I do want to move off Vooch so badly this offseason is because I believe Jalen Smith, I think he's got some, untapped potential still in his game. And, just giving him more minutes, getting him more shots, I think will be key to his development. And plus in this lineup, you could run a 5 out and just let Josh Giddey beat people off the dribble, kick out to the open shooters, and Ingram, Williams, and Kobe White. As Williams and White, they're some of the best players in terms of spot-up possessions in the NBA. And then you let Jalen Smith, the guy who shot 42% from downtown last season, just roam on the perimeter. And you would also have elite shot blocking in him as well. Now, if this trade would ever come to fruition, like let's just say the Bulls somehow swing big for Brandon Ingram, I would also consider the idea of just flipping Ingram and Wiggins immediately. Like, I think the Bulls can, I've used this comparison before on the channel a couple of times where, the Portland Trailblazers last season, they traded Damian Lillard for Drew Holiday, and everybody was like, why would Portland do that? I thought they were starting to, tank, they're building their youth movement. Well, what did they do? They then flipped Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics for 2 first-round picks. I think the Bulls could do the same thing with a guy like Brandon Ingram. So, obviously the Pelicans, they have a huge need at center, as right now it's Daniel Tice and Yves Missi at that 5 spot. So I think they're a prime team to be looking for Nikola Vucevic. And then obviously the Warriors, they are going to want to take advantage of Steph Curry's last couple of years here. So I actually like this move for the Bulls. But again, there would be a caveat there where I would prefer them to just move off Ingram, move off Wiggins immediately. And then, if you would roll out a lineup where it's like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Josh Giddey, Patrick Williams, and Jalen Smith, like, that team's not winning a whole lot of games next season, which is a good thing. Let's get to the second blockbuster trade. You're just swapping in the Atlanta Hawks for the New Orleans Pelicans, but it'll be the Warriors now receiving Zach LaVine again, 2 second-round picks from Chicago, and then the Hawks would actually be getting Nikola Vucevic, Julian Phillips, and then also a 2025 first-round pick from the Bulls, but it's actually the Portland pick. And then the Bulls would be getting Clint Capella, Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton, and Kevon Looney. Now, listen, if this is a trade that goes down, I would absolutely love this. And, this is for a multitude of reasons. I would love the center rotation of getting Kevon Looney, Clint Capella. You would also have Jalen Smith. You could trade one of those guys, again, similar fashion, just flip one of them. Then you would also be, moving off Nikola Vucevic and Zach LaVine. And plus, this is my take, because I see everybody, freaking out in the comment section all the time. The Bulls cannot give up their first-round picks. They cannot do that. I totally agree with you. But you could use that Portland pick, which if we are being honest, it is not going to convey. Just add icing on the cake, add those second-round picks. I think the most important thing, though, is if the Bulls are able to move off LaVine and Vooch while not giving up any of your first-round picks, you do it. That would be a huge success heading into this season. That would be my number one priority. If I was running this basketball team, you move off Vooch, you move off LaVine, and you don't give up any of your own draft capital. But that Portland pick, why not? I see no reason to not include it. But you guys let me know. I'm very, very curious on this, actually. Who do the Chicago Bulls need to trade more? Is it Nikola Vucevic? Is it Zach LaVine? Give me a 9 for Vooch or give me an 8 for LaVine. Very curious to see what you guys have to say. I would honestly actually lean Nikola Vucevic, but you guys comment your thoughts down below. Now let's get to another blockbuster here. A team that we have not heard connected to the Bulls or to Zach LaVine at all. Toronto Raptors. Now, this would be the Bulls receiving Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, Chris Boucher, and then the Raptors would be getting Zach LaVine, Torrey Craig, So Sad, or Turkish Prince, or Nurulop Biddum was included in that deal. But then you also include 2 second-round picks to just help move off that LaVine contract. And listen, Bruce Brown would be another example of a guy they could flip immediately. He's got a 1-year expiring deal of around $23 million. He is a guy contenders are going to look at as a super strong defender, can knock down an open three in the flow of an offense, and he was pivotal for the Nuggets winning that championship a couple years ago. Maybe the Lakers, get on the phone and they're trying to call you for Bruce Brown or any of these teams, specifically closer to the NBA trade deadline. Like, that's why I like Bulls fans. Like, I think we always think, like, when we're like, all right, we're moving off LaVine and Vooch. We need young players and we need draft capital. It doesn't necessarily hurt to get a guy like Bruce Brown, to get a guy like we talked about Grant Williams early on this week, where you could ship them again at the NBA trade deadline. Then you could really enter that tank mode at the end of the season and hopefully go and capture the flag is what we're calling it for drafting Cooper Flag. But there is a player in this trade I like. Chris Boucher, he doesn't get a lot of tick anymore for the Toronto Raptors. He really came on the NBA scene strong. And listen, he's 31 years old. He's a decent rim protector, and, he had some stretch 5 ability. Did not shoot the 3 ball, too well. He didn't develop as well as I thought he would, but, again, he would be a fun player. Him and Jalen Smith rocking that 5 spot. And then, you're also getting Kelly Olynyk in this deal. Olynyk, he was awesome when he was with the Boston Celtics, just that prototypical stretch 4, can knock down an open 3 in the flow of an offense. And, I was always a big fan of Olynyk during his Boston days. And, would the Bulls necessarily have a need for him? I don't necessarily think so. But again, he would help space the floor. And I think guys like that, just, knock down shooters from the perimeter, like, they will help the development of the Patrick Williams, of Kobe, of Io, just create more driving lanes for them. I think it just overall, lead to more success in the future for the Chicago Bulls. But this is a trade I cooked up. This is a blockbuster. And, you're probably reading this and you're saying, no way the Clippers do it. And I would probably agree with you. But it would be the Bulls receiving Norman Powell, PJ Tucker, Terrence Mann, and then the Bulls are attaching they're trading Zach LaVine, and then attaching that Portland pick and attaching 2 second-rounders. And, I'll take this from the Clippers' perspective here real quick. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Zach LaVine. Not sure if that's good enough to get them over the hump, but the Clippers, with where the roster stands right now, they don't have enough top-end talent to compete in the Western Conference. I actually do think a Harden, LaVine, Kawhi, big 3 with Zubac at the 5, and then you just have whatever filler 3-and-D guy, Derek Jones. Like, that's not a bad unit. Like, you would be thinking about the Clippers a whole lot differently if they are in comparison to how we do now. I know they love Norman Powell. I know they love Terrence Mann, but, you're going to have to give up some young players and some, solid role players to get a guy like Zach LaVine, in my opinion. And listen, Norman Powell, he was one of the best players in terms of attacking closeouts this past season. And, his numbers are ridiculous. 14 points a game, 48% from the field, 43.5% from downtown. Again, I think Powell would be a guy the Bulls could flip him for, multiple first, maybe not multiple, but at least 1 first-round pick next season. He is every contender's dream. He's kind of like a poor man's Derek White, and I don't mean that as a disrespect to Norman Powell, but just very similar fashion, can knock down the 3 ball at a very high level, solid defender. And even though he did average 1 assist this past season, I actually do think he's an underrated playmaker if he just gets the opportunity to do so. But a player I would love for the Bulls to get in this trade, Terrence Mann. He is just balls to the wall every single play, plays 110%. One of the best defenders on the perimeter we have in the league. And, he has started to develop that 3-point shot. And that's going to be the key with him. Like, just him personally, if he wants to take that next step in the NBA, his knocking down or his ability to knock down the three ball will be pivotal. But in 25 minutes a game this past season, 8 points, 3.5 boards, 1.6 assists, pretty efficient overall from the field, and he actually got his three-point ball up to 35%. So, those are some wild trades we discussed on today's show. Want to have fun with it as it is, it's a Sunday. The NFL or the NBA, rumors are starting to die down on the Bulls front, but there are still some trades out there. We have really no idea what these GMs are cooking up. But hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a real one down below so I know who all the real ones are that watch the entire thing, which, obviously goes a long way here at Chat Sports. So type real one down below, and I'll show you guys some extra love in the comments section. And also, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed. Closing in on 9,000 subscribers. I think it'd be sweet if we could hit it, by the end of this weekend. So really appreciate all the support we've gotten on the channel. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.